Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to crush another day. I know I'm ready for it. I know you are too. Hey, this is the Thursday drop of the Elevate Springfield podcast, coming to you from the Big Dog Construction Studio. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, ready to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, as right, we're going to elevate Springfield. Well, hey, today, to quote a friend of mine, hey, he said, today I think is going to be the absolute best day of my life. So, hey, how can you make today the best day of your life right now? Make it happen, y'all. Let's 10X this thing. Let's get after it. So, hey, as I record this, spend a lot of time in a couple of associations that I'm highly involved with today, Local First Springfield and Land of Lincoln Professional Networking Group. And as I sit in those meetings, it just reminds me how many phenomenal people we have in our community and how many phenomenal businesses we have in our community. There are so many ways to get involved, so many great people to connect with. If you are not embracing that, if you are not connecting with all these people, with all these businesses, you are doing a disservice to yourself. There are so many different collaboration points, so many ways to make your business better, to make our community better by all of us working together and growing together. So, hey, get involved, find your thing, whatever that thing is. But main thing is get involved. Thank you to our friends over at Custom Property Solutions. Anything you need land-wise, whether it's forestry mulching, land clearing, hardscapes, landscapes, or lawn care, anything in between, Brandon and his team are going to take care of you with precision and passion. Give them a call or head over to Custom Property Solutions LLC.com. So today, got a great episode. Ronda Brinkman from Springfield Dance, here to talk all things dance, of course, and her studio, but also a lot of great business tips along the way. She's seen a lot of success with her studio, also persisted through some challenges that they've had. Just a lot of great takeaways for y'all today. Looking forward to helping share her story. So let's get right to Ronda after the break.
Custom Property Solutions transforms land and outdoor spaces throughout Central Illinois with precision and passion. From clearing overgrown brush to crafting stunning patios and fire pits. Need expert lawn care, excavation, or fence row clearing? They've got you covered, safely, efficiently, and on budget. Fully insured and satisfaction guaranteed. Visit Custom Property Solutions LLC.com today, where your land meets their passion. All right, and we are back. Joining me now is Ronda Brinkman from Springfield Dance. Ronda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out today. Appreciate you spending some time with me.
No problem.
Looking forward to learning about Springfield Dance. But before we do that, let's learn a little bit about you. Let's learn a little bit about Ronda. What's your background?
Well, I have a dance studio that I've run for 30 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but I've been a dancer my entire life. Well, after my parents let me start dancing at 6 years old, that's basically where I started. And of course, they wouldn't let me do it when I first asked. It had to be 2 years down the road before they let me take dance.
So you first asked at 4?
I did. I knew in my bones this is what I wanted to do, and they made sure that I really wanted it. So I did, and I stuck it out all the way through high school and danced in the ballet company through high school and always knew that I wanted to do this. Wasn't really sure what capacity. When it came time to pick college, my parents said I wouldn't pay for me to major in dance because it wouldn't amount to anything. So I majored in business, which worked out really well for me. I danced all the way through college while taking business classes. And after I graduated, I got a job with the ballet company and got a job teaching dance and did that for a few years and then started a studio.
All right. What was your favorite style of dance growing up? What really got you fired up as a kid?
Well, year one, it would have been the tap shoes because they made a lot of noise. And that's where I had a lot of fun. And I used to make up choreography in my little entryway on my 3-foot by 3-foot marble entry space. I would tap. And that lasted for about 5 minutes in my house. And then I fell into ballet. Love ballet. Going all the way through college, that was really my passion. Jazz is a lot of fun. Modern was never my favorite, mostly because as a classically trained dancer and someone who loves ballet, being on balance is important. Modern dance is very off balance, off center, and it takes a special person to be able to fall off balance and get back on. So that was sort of a learned thing, but that was never my favorite, not my passion.
Dig into that a little bit more. What are some of the main differences between the styles?
Oh my gosh, so many. It's really hard to say, but they're all joined a little bit at the seams. So ballet is said to be the glue, the thing that is the foundation for every dance style. I would agree and disagree in some ways. Tap doesn't really require ballet, but ballet is foundational. It requires you to use your entire body, have rhythm, listen to the music, and be a part of it, which is important for tap. Although the muscles are a little bit contradictory, where tap is loose ankles, ballet is strong ankles. So you could do one without the other for sure, but that would be the only two styles that I would say are a little bit contradictory. Jazz is based on ballet. Modern is based on ballet. Really, modern dance was formed by rebels who didn't want to follow the rules of ballet, but had ballet training. Kind of the ladies that would show their ankles back in the day. They were rebels.
So when did that modern movement start? How long has that been around?
Oh my gosh. Early 1900s. So, really long time ago, but it's evolved over the years and now it's become more contemporary. There's a lot of different language around modern dance. Some call it lyrical, some call it contemporary. Different studios call it different things. We're a non-competitive studio, which means our dancers are classically trained. We don't go to competitions. We view dance as an art form, which is just a different perspective. Not that there isn't value in competition, but there's definitely a perspective. It's subjective. And to me, art always will have that. Some people like Impressionists. Some people like, neoclassical art. It's just, they're different. One isn't right, one isn't wrong. Judging that is hard. It's just hard. So we don't do that. Everybody gets a chance.
There you go. So what college did you go to? Did you go to school around here?
I went to Illinois State, mostly because there was a decent dance department. It's not, it's strong, but it's not like it's a dance college. But they had a great business school.
Mm-hmm.
So, I took my business classes and supplemented dance classes on top of it. I didn't even really get a minor because it was so small that some classes were only offered every other year. Well, business classes came first. And if I had that schedule already ironed out, I could only add what I could add.
Sure.
So I didn't get all the classes. I didn't take social, folk, and square. So didn't get my minor.
What were some of your favorite shows that you did growing up or in college? What are some of your favorites that you were in?
So, all right. So ballets that I love, probably the Nutcracker. It's like one of those things that will make or break you. You get it every year. So it's something that you look forward to every year, or not. Some people hate it. I love ballet, so Nutcracker works. Cinderella ballet is beautiful. I love the music. It's a little off kilter. It's Prokofiev. It's got that dissonance. Sleeping Beauty is so classic. For different reasons, I love all of them. It's hard to say.
Nutcracker's fun. Our mother-in-law, they run the Nutcracker Ballet in Champaign. So we typically go over there every year. So we bring our girls to that one.
Sure. Well, I'm also involved with Copper Coin Ballet Company here, one of the associate artistic directors in my spare time.
So 30-ish years ago, You started Springfield Dance,
Mhm.
right? So walk us through that process. Sounds like you've known that this is what you wanted to do, but what was the real impetus to, hey, I'm gonna start my own studio here?
Well, I took the easy route, I guess. I don't know that I ever would have started it on my own without a push. It's one of those things that, you always think that that's what you want to do and you know that you could do it, but do you have the guts to do it? So it just sort of happened that I was on a break from performing. I had a 1-year old at the time, and somebody asked me to come sub at her studio. Somebody I didn't know very well. It's somebody that I had performed with in the Nutcracker. She said, "Hey, I heard you're no longer dancing. Would you like to come sub for me? I'm going to be out of town and I don't have someone to sub." I thought it was a little weird because I was already teaching somewhere else. And I
Mhm.
said, "Yeah, I guess I could do that. Sure, I have a 1-year old. I could use the money. Why not?" So I did. And I did that for a week. I subbed for her. And when she came back, she said, "So here's the deal. I just got engaged. I'm moving to Atlanta, Georgia, and I would like to sell my studio to you. Are you
Really?
interested?" And my eyes got really wide and I said, "Yes, but let me talk to my husband."
Mm.
So I went home and he's like, "I don't know about this." And I talked to my parents. "Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a big responsibility. I don't know that you can do that. That's a lot of work." And I just started making spreadsheets and I
Mhm.
made an appointment with somebody at a bank and I basically ran the numbers and I said, "Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. It's a great studio, great location, great base. I think I could double my numbers in this amount of time,
Mhm.
and this is how I could do it. And could you loan me the money?" And they said yes. And I
Awesome.
said, "I'm doing it."
Love it. So how big was the studio when you bought it?
It started out with, I think the list was like 123 names, not a lot. And it was a 1-room studio over on the west side. At that time, it was right behind what was then Cub Foods and great location. It was growing, 30 years ago. Not much was past that, but it was busy. And so I knew it was doing well. I knew that I had a name for myself in town just as having danced here for my whole life. And I also knew that I was probably going to turn a lot of those names over. They wouldn't stay. But the way we went about the whole process is that I subbed for that week. She offered me the studio. We went through the negotiations and she brought me on as an assistant. And we didn't tell anybody. I did talk to my employer. We talked about it. I said, "I was offered this. I'm going to take it." She said, "I think you absolutely should. This is your career path." And so we just all kept our mouths shut about it for 6 months. And we made sure that the kids got to know me. And it was, by the time we ended up making the announcement, most of the kids were fine with it.
Mhm.
Some left, some said, "You're not her." I said, "Of course I'm not her. I'm not going to just become someone else."
Right.
And so we did turn over a lot of names, but by that first summer, by the end of the first summer, we had nearly doubled our numbers.
That's awesome. Sounded like you were pretty confident up front that you'd be able to double your numbers. What kind of strategies were you putting in place that you thought you'd be able to get to double your numbers that quick?
Well, having been somebody who did major in business, so I had finance, marketing, management under my belt, and I had also worked for the ballet company as a marketing manager. So I understood advertising and the need to do that, and location and space being very important. So the first thing I did, since it was a 1-room studio, I decided I was going to talk to the landlord and see if there was a space available for me to move right away. Because I also felt very passionately that it was important for me to step out of this other person's shadow and become
Yeah.
my own person and my own business and not just be part two of her business. And so that first summer we moved. It was a non-recital year. The way she had built the business is there was a recital every other year. It was a non-recital year. There wasn't a planned summer schedule. I moved across the street, did a summer schedule, and just completely upended the business model and reinvented it my way and started advertising. Back then, that meant I got a really big phone book ad
Right.
and I made sure that I had what I needed in there. And as soon as we decided that this was going to happen, I went out and bought a dance magazine. I bought a book on transforming a dance studio. And I just read everything I could. I was already very technologically based. I had a computer, which 30 years ago, not everybody did.
Right.
I was already scanning things and creating things and making images. And so I brought that knowledge on board and basically just started promoting myself, reading on what to do to promote a dance studio and how to not have to be the person who does everything
Mhm.
right from the get-go. So I brought a couple of people on board, not a lot, but I did start to build a team and started handing over some classes and having teenagers step in and help with admin, that kind of thing. And by the end of 5 years, I believe it was about 5 years, we ended up building a new building a few miles down the road because where we were was so congested. And if you've been on the west end of Springfield, right there by the old Cub Foods, which is now Harvest Market, it is a bottleneck.
It is.
Although it's very visible, in my mind, it was crazy. So I felt that moving farther out west was a better move for myself and safer for my students and easier to access and lots of neighborhoods popping up all over. So we moved out west and built a 4,800 square foot building, and we've been there ever since.
So when you first bought the business, was it Springfield Dance at that point? Did you buy it as Springfield
No.
Dance, or was it something else and you changed the name?
Something else, and I changed the name.
Okay.
Like that first season. And funny story, I asked the kids, I said, okay, so, we're going to change the name because obviously the old name was somebody else's last name and that's not
okay.
me.
Right.
And I said, so let's do a contest. What do you guys think the name should be? And I had one little girl who I remember to this day. She came up and she said, Miss Rhonda, I have the perfect name. I said, okay, what is it? She was maybe 5 years old. She said, it should be Rhonda's Dance Palace. And the theme should be flamingos and fountains.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that wins. And I could just at the time just picture a pink t-shirt with my face with a crown and a fountain and flamingos, Rhonda's Dance Palace. Everybody's a princess.
Oh, love it. Love it. That would have been big time branding right there. Everybody would have known.
Absolutely. I could have gone national for sure.
Right. Absolutely. So those early days, what kind of classes did you have?
Pretty much from the start. There wasn't modern when I took over the studio, so we added modern. I changed a lot of the format based on what I was used to growing up, which is it's not just once a week. It's if you're on point, you come twice a week. It was more of a recommendation than a requirement. A lot of studios require that you do this at this age or this level or whatever. And I felt that by making a requirement, people would be turned off. People don't like being forced to do anything. They want it to be their idea. So I shifted that whole perspective so that kids wanted to take more classes because they wanted to get better, because they wanted to perform and they wanted to do the Nutcracker and they wanted all these things. And that way, when it came time to make that choice, they would make that choice. And they did. A lot of them did double down and take more. But then you've got kids that are ice skaters or gymnasts or cheerleaders, or they just wanted to take it because they had a passion for it, but really didn't want to be on the stage. So they really wanted to just take that one tap class or that one hip hop class. Kind of early on, we brought somebody in to do hip hop, like master classes, like little clinics. We didn't have a hip hop teacher. I'm not trained in hip hop and I wasn't going to try to figure that out from, a video. We did some clinics in swing dances that I did learn from a video. And it was more just the rhythm and, just for people to have that, they could go out and do it for fun.
Right.
But we did add extra point classes, some workout classes that were just whatever was sort of popular at that time, we would add it in. But we've grown through the years. We did add gymnastics for a while. I had a gymnastics teacher who was teaching more power tumbling, and we had a little preschool gymnastics bar. But then we segued out of that, and it just became tumbling. Now we're doing acro dance, which is more of a fusion of dance and acrobatics.
Yeah.
Closer to what like rhythmic gymnastics would be in the Olympics, where it's a little more flexibility based, a little more dancey, less power heavy tricks.
Is that pretty popular right now?
It is.
Yeah.
It's really popular. And we just added silks, which is kind of a sister to acro in the way that they work well together. They kind of supplement each other. And it really helps with strength and flexibility for the dancers. And it's just something different for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said workout classes. What do those look like?
Right now, I'm yoga certified up into the 500-hour plus
Okay.
level. I did that during COVID. I'm like, I'm bored with my extra 10 minutes. So I got certified. And I do have a teacher that teaches bar fitness as well, which is ballet based strength, flexibility, a little bit of yoga mixed into that as well. But there's also a little bit of a cardio element.
Mhm.
Not quite aerobics because it's more dance based. For a while, we did Zumba. There were several of us that got certified in Zumba, and that ebbs and flows. People love it or they hate
Yeah, that's one of those. It
it.
seems like it's really popular at points.
Yeah, right now, we don't really do that much.
I mean, I don't know that people realize the strength component that goes into ballet.
Yeah, ballet is hard. My motto, well, not just my motto, but the motto is that if you are in a ballet class and you think it's easy, you're doing it completely wrong. Ballet is hard. And the way I like to teach it is with resistance. You shouldn't just plop down into a position, but you resist your body weight. So it's like the floor is holding you up, but you're also holding the floor down. Does that make sense? It's sort of,
I get it.
you push against the floor. Early on in modern training, we got a lot of Pilates. And so I learned a lot of Pilates mat work from modern. And modern dance and Pilates, the method, were coming into their own at the same time. So they're based loosely on each other, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. But Pilates is huge with what we do in jazz warm up and modern warm up. Even for a while, I've done it in my studio, but I taught in a gym Pilates for a while because they needed a teacher. So I taught Pilates for a while, but that's super helpful because ballet is all core.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm far from a dance expert, but I can tell when when a dancer has that core strength and like you said, has that body control to be able to do those things,
You have to
and
be able
it's
to
difficult. Yeah.
control all your parts, not just your core, but your arms. As a teacher, you start off with the super basics with the babies. You're teaching them the vocabulary and you're teaching them just the basic movement. You don't even get into making corrections on alignment and things like that until much later when they have more body awareness. There are some methods that are, you don't move past first position until you can do a perfect first position. Well, that is great in theory. But how fun is it for a kid to stay in first position for 45 minutes?
Mhm.
Let's be honest, most kids would get bored. I just really, really feel that you have to make it fun. You have to give them the correct terminology, the correct placement, everything correct, but you have to add something in there to make them want to do it.
Mm. Yeah,
This
because they're
isn't,
young. I mean,
they're
they're still
babies.
exploring. They don't know what
Right.
exactly if they want to do this long term
Right.
or what they're going to
This
do.
is not New York City. This is not the ABT where parents are sticking their kids in there for status
Mhm.
or that they think they've got a brilliant child, which every parent does. This is not that place. People don't come to Springfield, Illinois to see ballet.
What's the
It,
ABT?
ABT, exactly. American Ballet
There
Theater.
you go.
Yeah, it's one of the big ballet schools in New York City. It's a great method, but here in Springfield, nobody knows that
Mhm.
unless you know. And if
Right.
you know, then it matters. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. What matters to parents is their kid smiling when they leave
Mm.
and do they ask to go back? And that's our whole thing is we need to make it fun, we need to make it informative, and we need to make them want to come back. And most of our kids do. Some kids cry. Some kids cry every day at school or just at home. Every spring, kids want to quit.
Right.
Why? Because it's warm outside, they're playing outside, and they
Uh-huh.
don't want to quit doing that.
Yeah.
So we just have to make sure that parents understand that kids don't always know what they want. And if they cry once, it doesn't mean they cry every time. And we just have to give them that reassurance.
So how young of kids do you teach?
Well, the studio has classes for 18 months up.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. And we had a baby class for a while. That just didn't work out. I mean, there's just not enough parents that want to do things with their babies, especially if they have other children. They can't dance as babies. 18 months is really kind of pushing it, but they have a natural rhythm. All children come out knowing how to move
Mhm.
and they move naturally. What we do is direct that. It's an 18 to 36-month-old class, and there's a huge difference between 18 and 36 months. The 18-month to 24-month kiddos, they don't do a lot. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they don't participate. They all want to explore. They all want to get up and run around when they can. And the parents think that they're just being bad. Let me tell you, my kids, when they were that age, they were not cooperative either. They just aren't. But then they go home and you see them play acting and they're reenacting what they've learned in class. So we do our job there. They just don't usually show it in class until they're closer to 3. At 3, we pull them away from the parents and we keep them in the lobby. Yep. And we do not have an observation window, and that is either a popular or an unpopular decision. For us, it works because, and I don't know if you have kids, but kids do not cooperate for their parents.
Right.
And when they know that their parents are watching, they do really interesting things. So when we keep the parents in the lobby and give them that dedicated time, they cooperate better, they learn better, and then they want to come back. And when I was in college, I went to a studio that had that observation window. And as a college student, of course, my parents weren't around, but I was there early stretching. And I listened to those parents talk about other children and their own children and their expectations of what their child should or shouldn't be able to do, how much better their child was or wasn't than other children. And I thought to myself at that time, if I ever had a studio, I would never do that to my kids. And so I've stuck with it.
How many students do you have now?
Well, we're currently in registration mode. At the end of last season, we were just over 400.
That's awesome. So any other strategies you put in place to essentially, well, now you've quadrupled where you started from, and maybe how has some of that technology changed over the years? You said you were pretty technologically savvy back in the day, or have you kept with that?
Absolutely. If you don't, you fail. As a business owner, you have to constantly know what is new, what is working in the market as far as tools and technology. AI, you either love it or you hate it. I think it's a great tool for me as a business because I can shoot ideas in there and see, just get that AI opinion on whether or not it works. And it pulls stuff from all over to see what has worked or not worked based on what it finds. Every room in my studio, we've got 4 rooms and we have plans on building a 5th. We have the plans drawn up. It's just getting the right builder and the right cost. But we have 4 iPads. Each room has its own email address and its own Spotify account. I did automate the dance studio software right away. As soon as I started, I got out of spreadsheets and got right into a tried and true software, which has evolved through the years. And we love that.
That's huge right there.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you've got to have those tools. We do have an automation software, and some people rely on automation solely. I personally am the person who, when I have a problem, and I dial that number and I know it's a bot, or I'm on a chat bot, I start saying, talk to a human, talk to a human, talk to a human. I need a human over and over and over and over until I get that human, because I want to make sure that my question is answered the way that it needs to be answered. So we automate our Facebook ads, and we do a lot of Facebook ads. We do a lot of social media things, our website, a web bot. When you fill out that form and all of our trial forms, so we do a free trial for classes because we do believe that it is very, very important that everybody that walks in the door feels like they need to be there, that we are the right fit for them. And there have been some people that come in and they want the glitz and the glamour and the costumes and all the things that maybe a competition studio will bring to the table that we don't have, and we are not the right fit. And as a business owner, that is the first pill that is hard to swallow. We are not for everyone, and you have to be okay with that. So we do that free trial. And when someone fills out the form, we as in me and my office manager, both get a text message that this person has filled out the form, and it immediately responds to them. Thank you for reaching out. What classes are you interested in? So it starts a conversation, and we get that conversation and we immediately jump in and start to talk. So it's Yes, automated in the respect that you are not going to be missed and that we will be the ones having that conversation with you. Our studio software is the kind of thing that you could go onto my website and you could follow all of the links and you could register, but it's a lengthy process.
Sure.
There's a lot of boxes that you're supposed to fill out there. And you might go on there and think, well, of course, my 10-year-old is advanced. They should be in advanced ballet. And so
Mhm.
you fill that out. Well, that's just not the right class for you. So we steer people away from that. I don't have my class schedule on my website. I do not put my price list on my website because
Mhm.
I feel, again, that conversation is the thing that is the most important thing to have. So if you were to fill out the form and you said ballet, we would say, great. What age group are you interested in? We've got lots of classes and lots of different levels. And so then
Mhm.
we have that conversation. Then we go to price and the schedule, and we have a form that we send to you with just that class list so that you can pick the class that fits best in your schedule.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've said it multiple times. I think the companies that are going to thrive moving forward are the ones that, yes, have all the automations and have all that in place, but still find a way to have the personal touch throughout processes. I think the companies that blend those two seamlessly are going to be the ones that thrive.
Right.
And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
That's what we're
So,
trying to do for
right.
sure. And it's not something that just comes, by nature. You have to research these things. And I research it through, I do belong to an association of other dance studio owners. And so we do get some training on all of that. And I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years. And I feel like I've outgrown that a little bit. And I now feel like I can find these things on my own because I have a lot of these tools in place. And I know where to get the answers on what is new. And just
Mhm.
based on what I'm using already, you know when it's time to make a change when things start to go south. And, sometimes the market is not great and people may fail, but you don't have to. You don't have to. I mean, as a parent, you know that you will give up your date nights, you will give up your new car, you will
Mhm.
give up your personal amenities before you give up what your children love to do.
Exactly.
So we try really, really hard to be that thing that those kids love to do. And you asked what has helped me to be successful. I also know that people that put their kids in competitive dance do that maybe because they like to cheer their kids on. They like to see them succeed. They
Mhm.
like to see them get that award. And we don't really have that element as an arts based organization. Yes, the kids could do the Nutcracker, maybe if they make it once a
Mhm.
year. Yes, the kids get to do a recital once a year, but that's an extra fee. And sometimes people don't like to do that. So, what can we do to ensure that the kids are going to want to come back? So, I came up with the idea a long time ago of adding a component of performance in the studio that was above and beyond just a dance recital. And I still do have that model of a dance recital every other year. Well, we do a recital every year, but one year is costumed, super basic costumes. And the other year is we tell you what to wear and you bring it.
Oh, okay.
So it's no extra cost there.
Sure.
But there are some kids that want more. And at the time, my now 28-year-old was 7. So it was a year before she was old enough to audition for Nutcracker. And she was just driving me crazy. She was driving me crazy because she wanted to do all the things. She wanted to be on stage. She wanted to perform. She wanted to be in musicals. She wanted to sing. She wanted to dance. And I'm like, okay, I can only add so many classes. What else can we add? So we decided to add a performance element within the studio. And so what we do is offer by audition 2 separate performances every year. And our formula is they are less than an hour in length. They are storybook formats, ballet based, and that's loose. As in, sometimes it's more jazzy, sometimes it's a little more contemporary, sometimes it even has tap in it, but it is loosely ballet based. And the kids are ages 5 and up. And the audition is just as an experience to get them um, that tool of
Mhm.
learning to audition. That's scary. Auditioning is
No doubt
scary
about it.
for kids. So we teach them how to behave, how to sit still during that short amount of time and what to do, what not to do, train the parents as well. And everybody makes it. There is nobody that gets turned away. It is a separate fee to be a participant. And we audition 5 months before the performance. That gives us time to get all our ducks in a row, get costumes made because we don't order costumes, we make them, and get the show basically built. We are very old school. We don't do all of the fancy projections and all that. We do old school. We build the sets.
Very cool.
We, as in my other part there.
Love that.
We make the costumes. We set the lights. Yeah, I curate music. I pull things from lots of different ways. A lot of the music that I pull in is, sounds weird, but it's like commercial music, that royalty-free music that you put in the background. A lot of that is perfect for what we do to pull a story together. And I make the libretto, set the choreography, and then we teach it in 1 week. We do it in camp. We get them in 1 week during the summer. We just had a performance just over a week ago. And 2 weeks before that was our camp. We start at 8:30 in the morning and we go until 4 in the afternoon. And those kids learn an entire show in a week. I've got a huge team of teachers and helpers. The kids that graduate, they're the leaders. They're like the camp counselors. They manage a group. They learn all the choreography. They get me for about a half an hour, and then they go to a different room and they practice it with their leader. Then they go to a different room and they clean it with Miss Marcia, one of my teachers. Miss Becky sits in the office and answers all the questions from the parents. Parents come in and run lunch. I don't leave my chair.
There you go.
For a week.
Nice. You said a term a second ago. I'm not sure everybody. You say libretto or libretto?
Libretto. Yeah, that is the story with the music.
Okay, gotcha. All right, just so everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel over the years you've elevated your clients, which are the kids and the parents, really? So how would you feel you've elevated their lives?
Well, right now, I have a whole bunch of those early students are now parents, and I get their kiddos. So, and none of them are dancers, at least out of that bunch. But at the same time, I've got kids that are performing professionally all over. I currently, including one that I personally gave birth to, Disney performers.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my family's big Disney fans. We've been a number of times, taking the girls and everything, so we love that stuff.
Yeah, we just got back Thursday,
okay,
Friday. So I don't know. I make him drive, and he hates it. But we drove to Disney to see my daughter do her last parade week. She's been at Disney since 2022. Funny story. June 1st of 2022 was sort of a tragic day for us. I was at the studio. It was the last week before summer classes started, and 3 of my coworkers were there. We were sorting some fabric that people had donated, and all of a sudden we heard a weird sound and realized the attic was on fire. Burned up over 1,000 costumes.
Ooh.
Lost my studio, and it was sticky. And after we got the fire department there, I called my realtor and I said, find me a temporary space. I called my insurance adjuster, said, get out here. We need to figure this all out. And just about then, my daughter, who was at the time living in Florida, hoping to get this Disney contract, calls me. And in my head, I'm thinking, she either got hired by Disney or she's seen Facebook that my building is on fire. So we're just going to lead with hello. And she said, hey, Mom, guess what? I just got hired by Disney to do the Halloween parade. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, tell me all about it. She's like, yeah, I have to be there in 10 days and da 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 da. She had been living in Pittsburgh. She had to go back to Pittsburgh, get all her stuff, and she's telling me all about it. And I'm like, okay. I said, so don't freak out, but we're sitting in the parking lot right now. The studio's on fire. And she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, what happened? I said, the attic is on fire. She goes, are my Barbies okay?
Sure.
Mic drop.
That sounds exactly like something my younger daughter would say.
The Barbies survived. It took 18 months. We did get our building back. It's new and improved. And meanwhile, I had been walking through the building that morning and I was like, I hate this drinking fountain. Let's get a new drinking fountain. I hate this carpet. Let's get new carpet. I was telling him, walls I wanted to knock down. And my husband, he said, well, we need to deal with the attic first. I said, I know there's a lot of stuff up there we need to get rid of. Lo and behold, 3 hours later, the attic was in my lobby.
Wow. You had just said that?
I just said it. So we got new carpet. Actually, we got rid of all the carpet. We have a cool sparkly floor now and did get rid of the walls and got a new drinking fountain. And the wall that where the fire had started was exactly where that expansion needed to go. And we found termites and mold damage. So there you go. It was coming down one way or the
Yeah.
other. And so we're still, like I said, working on getting that expansion. So hopefully that happens in the next year.
So how'd you push through all that? Getting through the fire and probably a temporary spot and then getting back going?
Yeah. We had 2 temporary spots. We had one for a year, then they sold it, and we had to uproot ourselves for 2 months, and we moved to Hollister at the mall.
Oh, there you go.
That was a fun summer. We made it a new adventure. Every time these sorts of things happen, we had in 2006 when the tornado went through, we lost a good chunk of our roof. And within a week, we moved to Hope Church and had temporary classrooms for a good 6 months. And what do?
You push through.
You
You're a
push
business
through
owner.
or you quit.
Right.
And those are literally your 2 options. And so when any of my students have issues and come to me for advice, what do? I'm like, well, you've got 3 choices. You can deal with it, you can quit, or you can push through. You can find a new solution. And so that's what we've always done. I don't like to say I'm a survivor because I feel like that labels me as someone who needs to survive. I don't like to say that, I'm good at survival mode, but when things happen, that's just what I do. I jump into action. I cannot tell you what I want for dinner. When you ask me where should we go
Sure.
for dinner, I will melt down. Don't ask me what I want to wear tomorrow because I will melt down over those mundane decisions. But if I have to change my life overnight, I can.
You will knock it out.
I will knock it out. I've been through cancer twice, once with my husband. And in 2022, right after the fire, I found that I had uterine cancer and had to have a hysterectomy. And so I got through that. And what do? You tell people what to do and you make sure that just you've got people that are in your corner.
Fighter. My goodness.
I mean, you can't really knock me down.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. No, very
I'm
cool.
feisty.
Yeah. So you said something really powerful earlier that I think some, especially younger entrepreneurs, don't always get is not every client is your right client. When was that you learned that as the business owner that, yes, not every client is the ideal client for me?
That's been a lot of years in the making. I had my feelings hurt a lot of times. And it was because I could not step outside of being a friend or being a business owner because everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has an agenda. And if anybody ever is out there that says, I don't have an agenda, no, you do. And that's with the different hats that you wear. I had people in my studio that their kids played with my kids. And so they were friends and I was friends with their parents. And sometimes then they decide that they can't be your client anymore because they need something different to get their kids ahead. And that hurts. That hurts you to the core because you feel like you've been betrayed. Most of the time, those people would come back. But then there were people that are in your life and you think that they're with you because they love you and they're using you to get ahead with maybe getting good parts in the children's programming that I do. And then when they are old enough to be in the ballet company, maybe it's that they feel like they need a different teacher because they're going to see this person more and they're going to get better parts this way. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way because if you're good, it doesn't matter. But then you have to step outside and say, well, if they think you're not good enough for them or that you're not the right fit for them, then you're not. No matter, you shouldn't have to sit there and try to talk them into liking you. You don't do it on the playground.
Right.
I'll be your best friend if,
Sure.
here, I'll give you my sandwich if you be my best friend. And that's never going to end up in your favor. So it just took a lot of undoing of that thought process to realize that not everybody is your ideal customer. So, and part of this was in the business training that I've done over the last few years. You have to know what your ideal customer is. Who is your clientele? And so what I do to figure that out is I look at my students, and you don't want to say you have favorites, but you do have some of those families that are easy to work with. They show up. They don't make excuses. The kids don't make excuses. The kids want to be there. The parents want to be there. The parents want to be involved, but they don't try to run the show. They pay their bill on time and they don't try to ruffle feathers. It's certain people for me, and it might be certain people for a different studio owner based on what they like and what they want. So I just try to pad my clientele with people that I want to hang out with.
I think that it's very beneficial and really much needed as a business owner to do that perfect customer workshop, or finding that perfect customer avatar, right? And going through that whole process. It's super important, and not everybody does it, but highly recommend everybody should.
Absolutely. And it's also knowing what you are selling, because we're all selling something. And for me, it is not selling my services to create professional dancers. Have I? Yes, I have. And that is a byproduct of what we create, which is wonderful classes that create beautiful humans. We want our children to leave learning something. And sometimes it's manners, sometimes it's patience, sometimes it's how to speak up and get confidence, how to talk to your parents. I mean, I've heard it all.
Now, you said a second ago too, that knowing yourself, knowing your business. How do you expect your customer to know you if you don't know yourself? So that's always very important work to do prior to doing the perfect customer work, right? So we've talked a lot about business. Let's talk personally. What are some ways you elevate your life personally?
I go to Disney.
Me too. I love it.
So, yeah, we just got back from our Disney trip because my daughter had her last week of parades. She started out in the Halloween parade, like I said. She then did Christmas parade that same year. So she was a seasonal performer. And we went twice to the first Halloween that she did. She was a dead waltzer. And I watched every live stream I could watch. I was such a stage mom. It was pathetic. Sent my mom the little links to watch Bailey. She saw it, right? Crying, watching my kid. Then we went for Christmas, and that was right after my surgery. So I had to take it slow, but that was fine. Did that. And then she got full-time status right away by that January, and was invited to participate in the Lion King show.
Oh, okay.
So she got full-time Lion King, was onboarded into that. And she was not doing regular parades at that time, or the specialty parades, but was brought on to do the Festival of Fantasy as a Pegasus girl. So she got to do armography up in the air. And then she learned the shell unit after that. So she was doing Lion King and daily parade. And then she switched to also doing the Beauxbatons at Universal in the Harry Potter world. We got to go see that. And then she auditioned for the new Epic Universe at Universal. She opened up the park with the How to Train Your Dragon show. She was doing that full time up until 2 weeks ago, where she got a call back and was invited into the Beauty and the Beast show at Hollywood Studios as an equity performer. So she broke her Universal contract to be equity at Universal and had her last parade week last week. So I got to be stage mom one more time, running up and down the parade route, screaming, Bailey.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we probably saw her. I'm sure we saw her. I mean, we've been there over the last few years, and we've seen each of those parades, and we've done seen the Lion King and everything there.
Yeah,
unknowingly, we saw her perform.
You probably
most likely
did. She did Zebra more than any other performer, and that was mostly what she did. She did the other 4 players too, but usually Zebra. And she did also get to do the new Starlight Parade.
Okay.
And she had to trade shifts so that we could see that, because that's brand new as of like less than a month ago.
Yeah.
So she got to at least participate in that a little bit.
Right. Now we're huge Disney fans. Like I said, my oldest is 15, and I think the first year we went, she was 5 or 6, and we've pretty much gone at least once a year ever since then. Some years full time. So yeah, it's just one of those places that we love.
And the same. And we're Vacation Club members, so we do have the luxury of staying on property and in a nice place and bringing the kids and the family with us. But a lot of people are like, why are you going back to Disney? I'm like, well, some people go to the Bahamas or go to Hawaii. I have no interest of sitting on a sandy beach whatsoever. We've done that before, and that was fine. But Disney is our happy place. And, we're fine going to the parks for a little while and then going back to the resort and sitting by the pool and coming and going and getting ideas. I cannot even tell you how many times I've seen the Happily Ever After fireworks show. And even just thinking about it, when they say you can fly and
Uh-huh.
Tinkerbell comes,
Right.
I am sobbing.
Yeah.
I tear up just thinking about it. We did go one time with the studio. My Disney daughter, she set a piece on the kids to that music, and all the kids that were participating in our trip got to be in the piece, and it was beautiful. We did that at Disney Springs. We're looking to maybe do that again down the road now that I've got a real Disney daughter. She can help show the kids around.
Love it. That's amazing going down there, how you can feel no matter how many times you've gone. Because, like you said, we're at the point now where, yeah, it's just we can go to a park for 3-4 hours, do some stuff, then go hang out at the resort. Just, we don't have to stay at the park for 13 hours a day or anything like that. But every time we go, no matter how many times we've been there, we get there and it's like, hey, we're back. It feels like
Right.
home almost.
Right,
It's
right.
crazy.
And for me, as someone who creates artistic projects, it's seeing things up close, sometimes zooming in on a costume. Now that my daughter has been performing there and we get to, well, at least at Lion King, we would get to do meet and greets backstage. When we would get that invitation, I can look at the costume up close, see how it goes together. And it helps me formulate ideas on how we're going to build our costumes, because our costumes are all very three-dimensional. It's not just a leotard and a tutu, but I try to bring characters to life in the same way that Disney does. And so that's very beneficial. So of course, it's all research and development.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
But we have gotten a lot of really good ideas
Oh,
over
I
the
bet.
years.
Yeah.
And now with 3D printing, we do have a 3D printer, so we can print some of those things. And fun fact, when my daughter was a Pegasus girl, that is it's called the Bubbles float, which is the whale that Pinocchio sits on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into Fantasia and whatnot. The mechanism that the Pegasus girls, it's like a swing that they're sitting in, and it spins. The mechanism was made overseas and they couldn't get a replacement part because the factory was shut down during COVID. I mean, it was like this whole big story. So they had to 3D print the part so that they could spin the thing enough to fit through the exit gate by the barbershop where the parade exits the route. So there you go.
Awesome. Now, one of the things I love about Disney is the immersive experience, just all the little details, all the little things that you put in there that not everybody cares about, not everybody notices, but I love it.
Right.
That's what makes them different than other places.
And that is what makes our shows different than other places too. Because if you just have, your logo and a projection, and projections are great, and there's a definitely a use for them, or maybe that's what your whole model is. But for us, we perform at the Legacy Theater here in town, and I have performed at the Hoagland before, and now we're just really at home at the Legacy. It's a small theater, that classic feeling, and we bring the show all the way through. So I decorate the front of the stage and we build a platform. And the whole purpose of that is it's a small stage, so we can make a room in the back of the stage that certain things can happen. So for instance, like in Jungle Book, that's Mowgli's tree. So anything that happens up is in the tree. So maybe it's the snake or maybe the vultures or whatever. In Peter Pan, that was where the ship would take place. And so we'll pull things in, take things out. We build a lot of elements that come and go. Or maybe it's just we decorate the torms, which are the side. It could be a curtain, but at the Legacy, you have the choice of having the stationary wings and you just decorate them. So for Winnie the Pooh, that was Owl's house, which had all of Owl's relations on the wall. And maybe on the other side is where the honey tree would live. So you decorate it like a honey tree. But then all the way out front, we just did Rapunzel. We put the posters of Flynn Rider and we had wisteria all over. So we try to bring it all the way down. And when we can, we use the audience pathways to bring our characters forward. So maybe in Snow White, the 7 dwarfs with their lanterns, they come down the aisles and they're looking at people. Or the Wicked Queen, they look in the audience, for that, that moment. We bring that forward, and Disney does that sort of thing. So when you go to a Disney performance, you feel like you are in the performance.
Mm-hmm.
And the fireworks shows, they now do projections all the way down Main Street. So you
Right.
are in it,
Mhm.
100% in it. So
We always close with these last couple of things. We've had a lot of great things we've talked about. So give us one more on the professional side, one more on the personal side, maybe a piece of advice for folks out there to elevate their life or business.
on the professional side, it's really stay the course. You have to know your product. You have to know what you're selling. You have to know where you are, location, location, location. That has never changed. That was business rule number one. Be in a right location, but also be in the right place for your customers. And don't be afraid to change that if it isn't working. Just because you think it's perfect, it might not be perfect if they're not coming to you. Find a new location, find a new avatar for your product, or change your product or quit. Those are your choices. Literally, those are your choices. Owning a business is not for the faint of heart. You got to be willing to, watch the tornado take your roof when you're, 6 months pregnant with your fourth baby, and know that you have to rebuild and move everything. You have to watch the flames take a lifetime of work in costuming,
Mm-hmm.
only to have your mother pass away 2 years later and not be able to rebuild all of your costumes. And what do? You learn how to sew. You have to do it all over. So here I am learning to sew, building tutus. And I do that for Copper Coin. I made tutus for Copper Coin. I make tutus for myself and pass off some of the admin on my helpers.
Sure.
Personally, what do? This is a hard one because my children have grown up in the studio. They've grown up watching me work, and that's hard. That's hard to know that, to be a business owner, you have to take your business with you. And that might mean you're missing out on some things, but that's also means I can also give up an hour of sleep. So I could be in classrooms with my kids. And I did homeschool my fourth daughter because anxiety meant she couldn't go to school. So I homeschooled her from second grade until she graduated high school. And now she's a sophomore in college and she has 2 scholarships. So there's that.
Yeah. Now, both my daughters are homeschooled as well, actually.
I love it.
Yeah,
And
so-
there's a lot of great things that you can do with
Mhm.
that. You get to see your children grow up, and she is still my buddy. She's still my buddy. And she FaceTimed me as I was standing outside your studio and said, I gotta go. I'm gonna do a podcast. And she's great. And they never leave your side.
No doubt about it. And is there anything we can do community-wide to help elevate all of us here in Springfield and the surrounding communities?
Well, support local. Absolutely. I do that when I can. I try to get as many strategic business partners as I can. I have conversations with people, and it's not just about getting them in my door, but how can I help them too?
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who does marketing for Copper Coin, we do this fun little thing with mice around town. And so we take our little mice from the Nutcracker, mice are funny, and they're funny and they're scary at the same time. But we
Right.
take them to the dentist, and we take them to the chiropractor, and we take them to get their nails done. And that's a great promotion for the Nutcracker, but it's also a great promotion for those
For
businesses.
all those businesses, sure.
So we cross promote when we can, and that helps promote local. But
Let's
stay
go.
the course. You just have to help each other out and, put on your big girl panties and make it work.
Let's go. So,
Yeah.
Rhonda, if somebody's out there wanting to get into dance, what's the best way they go about doing that with you?
Well, they can do it pretty much anywhere they want to. We will meet them where they want to be. You can message us on Facebook. We are Springfield Dance. You can call us 217-483-3623. We will answer the phone. And you can email us from our website. You can message us from our website. You can fill out the form and tell us what you're interested in doing. Maybe it's line dancing on Friday nights with Mr. Andrew. He does that once a month, which is really fun. But we have something for everyone.
All right. Well, Rhonda, appreciate you spending the afternoon with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. We're going to let Rhonda get back to elevating Springfield. And for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back. Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst, American Family Insurance Agent, is here to help you protect what matters most: your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343. All right, so how about Rhonda? Phenomenal stuff, right? Great long-term business in the Springfield area. Hey, just want to touch on one major thing that we talked a decent amount about with Rhonda, about your ideal customer, right? And she also mentioned that it's okay that not every client is your ideal client. And we talked a little bit about avatar work. Well, what is that? If you're a business owner out there, have you put in that work? Have you found your perfect client? Have you done the avatar work? That's what we're going to talk about for a few minutes here. Before we do that, if you're not completely clear on who you are and what you offer, how could you ever expect your customer to be? So here's some prompts for you that you need to think about and write some things down about these to figure out who you are as a company, that which will lead into who you need to market to and who your perfect ideal customer would be. So answer these for yourself and your company. Who are you as a person? Who are you as a company? What core values does your company believe in? Do you have those written down? Are they posted? Does everybody know in your company what your core values are? What problems do you solve for your customer? Not what do you do, but what problems do you solve for your customer? And what is your core product or service? And what does that product do for people? And after you've done that, start listing out, hey, who are your top 3 competitors? How are you different from each one? List 5 reasons why a customer should pay you more than a competitor, right? And how are you viewed in the marketplace? How do you think people view your company in the marketplace? And how is that different than how you view yourself? Where are you positioned in the market for price and quality? And what experience do you have that makes you different? And what is different about what you do and how you do it that is valuable? If you'd like me to send you these questions, I'd be happy to do so. Just reach out via my social and I could give you those again. But it's very important for you to figure out who you are as a person and who your company is before you're able to figure out who your ideal clients are, your ideal prospects. All right. Knowing your prospect allows for better understanding of your customer's needs, allows for development of different offers based on those needs, and helps guide how you package your brand message. And it also allows the entire organization to be clear on who your customer base is. So who is your perfect customer? Think about how many customer personas you have. Do you have 1, 2, 3? What do you have? Who are they? Where are they located? How much money do they make? What kind of demographics are we looking at here? What are they interested in? What else are they buying? What problems do they have, right? What problems are they having? And how do they buy from you? If you can start putting those things together, you can start developing that perfect customer avatar who you ideally are going to be doing business with. And once you have that all lined out, you can develop your messaging to be able to attract that particular client. And we'll get more into that in a different episode and maybe in some of the tips of the day that I do. But if you want some of these questions on a PDF doc, I'd be happy to send it to you. Just reach out via social, be able to help you out with that. So thanks again to Rhonda, and we're going to be right back with more after the break.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at sangamontreeservice.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey, check out all those previous episodes. Head on over to your favorite podcast outlet. Look for Elevate Springfield. Should be able to find us. Also, check us out on social. You can go to my personal pages at Robert Farrell at everywhere. Or, of course, you could go to the Elevate Springfield pages as well. Go to YouTube, give us a subscribe, give us a like on any of these channels. We would certainly appreciate it. Thank you to Rhonda for spending some time with us today. Really great stuff, a lot of great takeaways for y'all. So take what you learned today, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
Look, I get it. Mortgages sound boring until you realize you need one, and suddenly you're neck deep in paperwork. Googling terms like escrow and DTI like you're studying for a finance exam you didn't sign up for. I'm Fred Weber at 217 Mortgage. I break it down like a real human, not a robot in a tie. VA loans, first-time homebuyer, refi, I've got you. Local, fast, and yes, I answer my phone. 217 Mortgage, because adulting is hard enough.
Equal Housing Opportunity, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, NMLS number 6606, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Conditions and restrictions apply. This is not a loan commitment or guarantee of any kind. All mortgage loan products are subject to credit and property approval. New American Funding, LLC, all rights reserved. Corporate office 14511, Myford Road, Suite 100, Tustin, California 92780. Phone number 1-800-450-2010, NAF.com.